friends. Thanks for joining me as I flip through this Concertina journal that I made out of an old book. The title of this book was Something to Sing About, the Personal Choices of America's Folk Singers. It had a lot of music pages in it, which when I cut it out of the binding, I taped the edges and I kept the guts, so I'm sure you'll see some music in some of my work coming up because I have the whole interior of this book. But to make this, I used, I think it was 4 sheets of 22 by 30 inch watercolor paper. So this is all watercolor paper in here. It has multiple spreads, but then it's one long panel. So I'm gonna flip through it by spread, and then I'll break it out into a little bit longer so you can see how it sort of all works together. And I was inspired by something that I saw online, which I'll link to in the comments, in the notes, but I wanted to do something that could be hung on the wall if it worked out that way. So I didn't work on the back of this, it's only on the front side. So, you know, if there ever is an occasion to hang it for a show, it can go and you won't miss anything from the back. But I tried to limit my palette, which I really struggle with that. I used some different mark making tools and some ink, and then watercolors and some Neocolor 2 crayons, and then of course some collage materials. So one of the things that you'll notice going through is there's sort of this line that connects everything, and then it almost becomes landscapey. There's some sky elements, there's some ground elements, and I tried to lean into that a little bit. I liked that. So here's the first spread, and you get sort of introduced to the blue, the green, and the orange. And I was already using the blue and the green, and my youngest child wandered in and they were like, "You need orange," and I wasn't really sold on the orange, but then when I laid some down, I really liked it. My kid has some great ideas sometimes. And so again, you see the line sort of meandering through. And I tried to work in, like, this is a blue pen that I had, and then the blue watercolors. So there's elements that sort of repeat. There's lots of line work. I tried some different things. I work so hard to not get cutesy, and it happens sometimes anyway. I feel like this maybe is a little on the cutesy side, but it's, you know, kind of iffy. But then the line, and it picks up with a piece of collage here. There's a bird. I just sort of accidentally drew a bird. I'm not a big figural drawer. I don't draw like actual things very much. I'm more of a doodler. And you'll see down here there's kind of a little animal shape, kind of a cave painting looking situation happening. But it's very rare that I end up with, you know, actual objects. This is some water, and I just loved that, the way it looked. It was like at sunset, so it was kind of a goldy color. And I felt like it really fit in with this, both the color and then the sort of the rhythmic light on the water pattern. And this is kind of a dark page. Things kind of get explosive. And then it kind of, I try to lighten it up and not be so heavy, you know, going back and forth, light and dark. A lot, a little, you know, working through some of those themes. This is a sketch that same kid, my youngest child, did for a school project, and they had stuck the sketch in my collage bin, and so I pulled that out and used it here. So they contributed in several ways for this book. There's almost a fish shape here. I really liked this. I repeated this a few times. It looks sort of like, you know, the rain coming down from the clouds. And then, you know, there's a little bit of a landscape element here, and then it turns into much more of a landscape element here, kind of rocks and mountains. And again, trying to stay within some colors thematically, overall. Here's a join where I joined pages together. Another join. This is a watercolor, a Daniel Smith watercolor that separates out into these sort of kind of granular looking things that I really like. Gives it a lot of texture. And then this is the last page. So I'm going to go back to the front. Here's the back. I'm going to go back to the front. And so here I'm going to do a 4-page fold out so you get a better sense of what it looks like. So there it is. I'm not really calling it anything other than my Concertina book, but I'll link to some in-process shots that I did on Instagram, and you'll get to see some more work, maybe a few up-close pieces as well. So thanks for joining me.